Basic Brewing Radio is sponsored in part by the American Homebrewers Association. The American Homebrewers Association invites you to choose your own brew venture. Join for 1 year and select a complimentary brewing book for Brewers Publications. Choose from more than 60 titles to match your brewing goals. Visit homebrewersassociation.org/basicbrewing to join the American Homebrewers Association and treat yourself to a new brewing book. Get offer details at homebrewersassociation.org/basicbrewing. That's homebrewersassociation.org/basicbrewing. Welcome to Basic Brewing Radio for Thursday, February 16th, 2023. I'm James Spencer. Here at Basic Brewing Radio, we're all about home brewing. This week, it's part one of our awesome time at Frost Fest in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Steve Wilkes and I visited with a ton of breweries inside and outside the region and recorded almost 2 hours worth of interviews. We sampled some delicious beers and talked to the brewers who made them happen. If you want to support us financially, check out patreon.com/basicbrewing. And thanks to, what show is this? And thanks to everybody who's helping out in that way. If you go to patreon.com/basicbrewing, you can see a long list of stuff that you can access if you sign up as a supporter. My loggers are currently loggering in the keg, so Steve and I have been waiting for those to mature a bit before recording shows about them, so there's a bit of a gap in the video episodes. However, I'm planning to release something food-related for financial supporters this week. I've been making a really good and simple curry tomato soup that I've been itching to share with y'all. It's a bit of a diversion from beer, but it's something that I hope that you'll want to try. I found that it's really great for lunch with some of those frozen Asian dumplings that I've been finding at the wholesale store. They're pork and vegetable, the ones that I found. But you know, if you're a vegetarian, you can find something else, something delicious to go with this delicious tomato soup. So financial supporters, look for that this week. Let's take a look into the mailbag, shall we? It's been a while. After hearing the show where Matt Giovanisi and I tasted Matt's triple, David from Burlington, Wisconsin wrote in. David says, when Matt was saying he'd up his sulfate next instead of a balanced water profile, I was surprised that you didn't speak up and suggest dosing a bottle with some gypsum to test that out at serving. Might have to dissolve first in a wee bit of warm water, but that could give him an idea of the result, and he could report back. First of all, David, thanks for giving me enough credit to be surprised that I didn't come up with that idea. I'm not surprised at all. I think it's a fun thing to try. We've certainly tried dosing gypsum to hoppy beers at bottling time, or even at serving time, and it does make a difference in the taste of the beer. I forwarded your email to Matt, and he likes the idea, so stay tuned. And I can't wait for Steve to try that beer on the video podcast. Matt has sent a video postcard of his brewing process for Basic Brewing Video. And, of course, Matt is the producer of the Brew Cabin video channel and website. The video channel on YouTube, that is. Ken from Kentucky wrote after hearing that same episode where Matt and I tasted the triple and then formulated a recipe for my Italian Pilsner. Ken says, I just listened to your podcast on Italian Pilsner. I enjoyed it a lot. Well, thanks, Ken. FYI, I brewed a Helles with Avant-Garde Pilsner malt for the first time, and I liked the malt also. So it should work well with your Italian Pilsner. Thanks, Ken. I appreciate that. And Ken sent a picture of his Helles, and it's really clear and beautiful, and I bet it tastes really good. My Pilsner still isn't crystal clear. I'm blaming the 3 ounces of dry hops, but if that's the culprit, the flavor is definitely worth the loss of clarity. But I haven't given up yet, though. Listener Jacob wrote me a while back asking for advice on whether adding lactose to a beer that's too bitter would be something worth trying. I said to give it a shot. Just be careful of the Mentos effect if the beer is already carbonated. Jacob followed up that he's found a good way to use beer that doesn't turn out exactly as planned. Jacob says, I've been making quick loaves of beer bread for dinner. Thought I would share this idea with you for something listeners can do with those beers that really don't turn out. Jacob says, I did this some time ago with an oxidized beer. The sweet notes from the oxidation actually work amazingly well in a cheddar or herbed loaf. With really hoppy beers, I'd recommend increasing the sugar in the recipe a bit to counteract the bitterness that can come through in the final product. Thanks, Jacob. That sounds really tasty. Luckily, I'm happy with my Vienna Lager and my Italian Pilsner that I brewed with L25 Huga from our friends and sponsors at Imperial Organic Yeast. It's the seasonal lager strain. Those beers are kegged up and sitting at around 40 degrees Fahrenheit or 4.4 Celsius for aging. I've been sampling every now and then, but I don't want to drink them all before Steve has a chance to taste it for the video show and before I send samples to Chris and Matt. It's very tempting, though. It's hard. Both beers started out at around 1050. I fermented at 57 degrees Fahrenheit or 14 C, and I didn't use a starter for either beer with the Huga. Now, your mileage may vary, but the fermentation was going strong by breakfast the day after pitching, and it finished out cleanly and well in just, I think, 3 days for each of them. With 200 billion cells in each easy-to-open homebrew pack, my stir plate is dusty because I don't use it anymore to make starters for moderate gravity 5-gallon batches, even lagers. And with a recommended shelf life of 4 months, there's no panic if you need to postpone a brew day or just get lazy. Not that I've ever done that. Ask your local homebrew shop about the seasonal lager yeast, L25 Huga from Imperial Organic Yeast, and check them out at imperialyeast.com. It's imperialyeast.com. Now, FrostFest is an event well organized by Ben Mills and the fine folks at Fossil Cove Brewing in Fayetteville. I tried to find Ben at FrostFest, but there were so many people, and I'm sure that he was so busy that I didn't get a chance to connect with him. Now, winter is not normally the time for an outdoor beer festival, but the sold-out crowd really enjoyed themselves. The temperature was moderate. The wind did kick up every now and then, so you'll hear a little of that in a few of the interviews. I have ordered a new windscreen for my little recorder, by the way, especially before we go to the Windy City, Chicago in May for the Ballpark Brewfest. So come along with Steve Wilkes and me as we head to FrostFest 2023. Steve Wilkes. It's not frosty, but it's a little windy. We're at FrostFest in Fayetteville.
Yes, standing in front of the longest line of one-hole porta potties I've ever seen in my life. Film at 11.
You could take your pick right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a Phillies game, only before anybody gets here.
So we've got apparently breweries from like 8 states here. And I think the last time we were at this thing, you had the homebrew shop. And we were set up in your booth.
That's right. And it's a little warmer today than that day.
Yeah, but it was cold that day.
It was very cold. Today it's just wet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, wet.
Well, are you ready to talk to some people and drink some beers?
Sure, always.
Let's do it.
Okay.
All right, tell me who you are and where you're from.
My name's Ben Farner. I'm from Fayetteville. Been part of the Flops Homebrew Club for just over a year now, but I've been brewing for about 11 years.
The Fayetteville Lovers of Pure Suds. And what am I drinking?
This is a winter warmer brewed with some spices, so it's kind of the base is kind of just a classic winter warmer, but then it's got cardamom, Buddha's hand, citron peel, star anise, cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, and spruce shoots.
Oh, wow.
So
that's a
complex spicing going on.
Yeah, it tastes like a holiday in a glass. Steve's just got his.
Yeah, I just did.
So while he's sampling, so where do you add the spices and how do you treat them?
Yeah, I've tried to kind of simplify my brewing as much as possible. So I add all of this at the end of the boil. So I think some of it is maybe 15 minutes and some of it was at flame out. Just kind of keep it as easy as possible and treat it more like a tea. Yeah.
What do you think?
It's great. And the spruce is really a surprising, nice thing in it. I like it.
Yeah, it's good, but it's not like, sucking on some potpourri or something. So
Yeah, I've dialed back the spicing from previous years, trying to kind of get a good balance in there, and I'm pretty happy with how this one turned out. So
yeah, and talk about the base beer.
It's kind of I don't know. I didn't follow anything. I just kind of put it together, but it's Maris Otter, and then it's got some oats, some caramel 60, and then pale chocolate and a little special bee in it. So the oats give it a kind of a nice mouthfeel, and yeah,
it's very creamy.
I really like this beer a lot.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, I use Maris Otter in my winter beer as well. I don't know. Plus it sounds good to say that rather than just normal 2-row.
Right. Yeah, it just feels a little fancier.
Well, it's delicious. It's our first beer of the day. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. Glad you liked it.
All right, tell me who you are and where you're from.
Lane Stansel with Rough Tail Brewing Company out of Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City. Now, tell us about your brewery.
We started in 2013, so we're coming up on our 10-year anniversary in April. And we kind of started up to do West Coast IPAs. When the New England thing started going on, we kind of became known for our New England IPA, which is everything rhymes with orange. So we were one of the first pioneers in the region to do beer, especially year-round on the shelves, New England Pale Ale, or IPA, sorry.
Now, speaking of which, I'm doing a session version of the orange called Little Orange, right? It's only 3.3% ABV.
Correct. Yeah, it's a lower ABV, lower calorie beer. It's a version of its big brother. And then this is breaking news, but we are coming out with a mixed 6-pack, and so it'll include Little Orange, everything rhymes with orange, and then it's double or Durwo. So everything rhymes with orange is a mouthful, so people usually shorten it to Urwo. So we are coming out with Durwo that will only be available in the mixed 6-pack.
Talk about the hops in this beer.
So in this beer, it's got the same hops that we have in Everything Rhymes with Orange. That's Simcoe, Mosaic, and Citra.
It's very nice. It's nice and light and tasty. I'm coming off of a big winter warmer, but this is a nice palate cleanser. Boy, you could say it's a little chilly for I'd like a big beer right now, but this would be a great summer beer. Steve's allergic to the beer that he's. What's Steve drinking?
Well, he's drinking dill or no dill, so it's a dill. Yeah, it's a dill pickle flavored beer.
I appear to be allergic to it. I've been sneezing my head off over here.
He's a bread and butter guy.
It's super good. I'm all about these pickle beers.
Yeah, we had a good one we were at the Oklahoma craft beer, or the Tulsa craft beer invitational, and Desiree and Dave at High Gravity had a nice dill pickle beer there too as well.
Super good. My dad, when I was a little kid, I remember him pouring his Budweiser over sauerkraut juice.
Oh, I've not heard of that.
It was really good. Of course, I'm speaking as a 10-year-old, but I even liked it then.
Yeah.
So this is a pickle goza. Is there actual pickle juice in there?
So the juice that we buy is pickle flavored juice. So I'm not sure how much pickle is in there, but it does have we tried real pickle juice, and we tried the pickle flavored juice, and that actually was a lot smoother taste and worked better with the actual beer itself. So it's very strong though as well. So it's it's a little different animal that it's actually our food rep, our food distributor. And rep, said that I said, hey, can you get us pickle juice? And they said, yeah, we can get you pickle juice. Well, it showed up as pickle flavored juice, so we threw it in to see what it tasted like, and it actually worked out really great. And we had tried, we tried Clausen and Vlasic, pickle juice with no real success. And so then they came through with this pickle flavored juice. I guess they make it in Dallas, so.
So it's good.
Yeah, and it's a goza. It's a little bit salty. That's how it should be. It's terrific beer. I like it.
All right. Well, good luck at Rough Tail.
Thank you so much.
Okay, tell me who you are and where you're from.
Colin Adams from Rogers, Arkansas, now working at the Goat Lab Brewery in Lowell, Arkansas.
Tell me about Goat Lab.
Goat Lab has been open for almost a year. Opened up last March, so we're approaching the 1-year mark. We're actually going to be having our grand opening that we never officially did. We're going to be doing that right next to our 1-year anniversary.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I've been seeing about y'all on social media and stuff, and I've been meaning to come up and visit. What do you specialize in? What do you brew?
We want to specialize in a lot of lagers. We are trying to stick to the German style where it's a little bit easier to drink, not as bitter, not as strong in alcohol. We want people to hang out. That's why we have a lot of table games. Like we've got cards, we've got dominoes, but we also have ping pong tables, pool tables, cornhole boards. We've got a lot of space, and our intent is to build Gemütlichkeit. It's German for the happy feeling of community. We want people to be hanging out there for 5 or 6 hours, meeting new people and just talking about different things. And so to encourage them to stay all that long, we don't want to get them too drunk. So we will keep our alcohol percentages around 5 to 6% on the majority of the beer. We'll still have a couple that are going to be a little bit stronger. We do have an IPA, but we want to specialize in less hoppy beers just because we over there at Goat Lab aren't the biggest fan of IPAs or super bitter stuff. We just think that the German style wanted to focus on easier drinking stuff around 4 to 5% and low IBUs. We're just trying to push friendly community and drinkable beer with new people.
Well, what we've got here, I think, is the Pilsner, and it's delicious.
Yeah, it's really good. Nice drinkable beer, exactly as you described it. You know, it's right in style. That finished my sample already.
Yeah, I could I could easily drink a liter of this.
Yeah.
Super clean. Tell me about it. Tell me about the beer, about the hops.
Yes, so the beer, we use majority of German style grain. We want to keep it as traditional as we can. We have a lot of our grain coming from best malts. We do want to stick to, we still use different varieties of hops, but we do want to keep it still low IBUs. We use a lot of German noble hops just to keep the flavors traditional, what people are kind of expecting out of a age-old style of beer. We're not trying to make the new best thing. We're just trying to make simple beer that tastes good, that anyone can drink. And you don't have to be a connoisseur of beer to enjoy. And if you're only used to big macro breweries, you're still going to enjoy our stuff. A lot of what the staff or the bartenders will say, the beer tenders, is that ours is just homemade beer for people that if you only drink Bud, Coors, Miller, you're still going to find a style that you like. You don't have to have the tongue of a connoisseur to appreciate what we have.
Well, but if a connoisseur can pick out a badly made Pilsner or a badly made, simple German beer, and this is well made. So
that's really good. I wouldn't mind just a little bit more.
What else do you have on the other tab?
The seasonal gingerbread beer. We have a spiced beer, a little bit branching out, just since it's still chilly as can be out. We made it around Christmas time, so it has some of those Christmas holiday flavors, but we do still want to make everything acceptable for people. So this is still going to be good. It's going to be a little bit different. This is us branching out and trying something a little bit wild just for the holidays. This isn't going to be something that you can find on tap all the time. And we still will have different beers for the seasons. Beer will still be a seasonal thing that changes. But for the most part, you will find a lot of lagers and German-style beers always on tap at the brewery.
It's good. It's really good. It's tastefully spiced. It tastes like a cookie, but again, like the winter warmer down the thing, it's not like sucking on a bunch of potpourri. It's well done. We'll have to come and see you.
I look forward to it. Yeah, bring your game face on because you will be challenged to pool and ping pong and darts.
Okay, tell me who you are and where you're from.
I'm Susan McLeod. I'm with Holdfast Brewing, and we're from Springfield, Missouri.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us at Frostfest.
And you were saying that unlike most of these guys around here, what's your story? What's the story of your brewery?
The story of our brewery is two sisters. It's my sister and I actually own it and brew and operate. So a lot of our beer tenders and our staff are all female. And then, like I said, female brewer, it's kind of rare down in this area. So
yeah, well, all around.
Yes. It's coming more and more popular.
Yeah, excellent. So what kind of beers do you brew?
We brew a wide variety, actually. I try to make things that are drinkable and recognizable. I'm not going to try to go anything crazy. I want not a lot of weird flavors today. We did bring a coconut brown, but we're proud of it. We think it turned out nicely. I like to stick to clean beers, Pilsner, lager, some IPAs that we have about 4 of them on, and then kind of dabble in a little bit of wheat, pale ale, and nice wide assortment.
Well, I'm drinking the coconut beer. It's nice. In addition to the coconut, it's like a toasted coconut, but there's a little bit of a spicy character as well. I don't know if that's just from the coconut or there's no other spices in there, right?
There's no other spices in there. That might be coming off the Fuggle hops that we use in our brown. So
it's very nice.
Thank you.
And Steve, what do you got?
I've got the IPA. Was it Decades West Coast IPA? Tell me about the grain bill. I get a little bit of malt out of it. I mean, a little bit of caramel malt. I'm not sure.
There's some just good old Cara Munich in there, and a little bit of just regular Munich 1. That will give that out. And there is a little bit of Pilsner in there to give a little sweetness. So that might be what's coming out.
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's really good. And I mean, it's just a good West Coast IPA, which that's what it's supposed to be.
They're kind of rare to find nowadays.
Actually, that's right. Because everybody pumps them up with all the mango and everything else they can get in them.
In my beer all the time.
So talk about the base beer of the coconut.
Okay, it's a good old English brown ale. So we try to, like I said, keep things pretty basic at our brewery. We don't like to use a lot of crazy flavors or special hops, so that's made with good old European Fuggle hops. And it's light-bodied, drinks real nice. It's about a 5.4 ABV. So, easy drinker.
Yeah, it's very nice. Mine's gone. So, nice job. You just troubleshooted there with it. So, do you as a woman-owned and woman-operated business, are there any challenges that you face that, are there any misconceptions or any preconceptions that you have to deal with still, even nowadays?
When we first opened, we were afraid of that. We were afraid a lot of beer drinkers would shy away thinking it's women. Like, they don't want girly beer. Well, I think we wowed them when we made traditional beer, and we're not all high fruit, sours, anything like that. So I think that's been the only misnomer that we've had to come across. Actually, a lot of people think, like our environment, because it is so laid back, they notice the fine touches and detail we've put into our space and in our product and in our events. So it's been nice.
Well, the beers are good.
Yeah. So if you if one found themselves in Springfield, how would they find your brewery? And also, how big? How many barrels, etc.
Okay, we're a 10-barrel system. We carry about 20 beers on tap on a regular rotation. And then our brewery is located right on the edge of downtown Springfield. So we're pretty accessible. You don't have to venture into downtown where parking can get a little scary. We have a lot of parking around us that makes it easy and accessible. And we're part of a big beer scene in Springfield. It's grown to about 10 to 12 breweries at the current moment. So it's very nice.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And good luck to Hold Fast.
Thank you. Thanks for having us on.
I love brewing outside in the winter. Normally it's not that cold around here, and my Warthog electric brewing system from our friends and sponsors Desiree and Dave from HighGravityBrew.com is an excellent way to brew in any temperature. With propane, the gas doesn't want to come out in very cold conditions, and propane industry experts advise against brewing with propane inside with typical propane brewing setups. Well, a Warthog electric system can help you take the pain out of propane. You can brew inside or out with no worries. And on HighGravityBrew.com, you can configure a system to fit your budget, brewing style, and brewing needs. I have a single-vessel Warthog system, but you can configure your own setup to be 2 or 3 vessel systems up to 2 barrels. You can also upgrade your gear into Spike or Blickman vessels, if you fancy. Desiree and Dave are pioneers in the electric brewing field, and they're great folks, available to answer your questions if you have them. Check out all the excellent electric brewing gear at HighGravityBrew.com and use the code EBC75BB to save $75 off your Warthog gear purchase. That's at family-owned and operated HighGravityBrew.com. That's HighGravityBrew.com. right, tell me who you are and where you're from.
Chris Butler with Lost 40 Brewing.
And you've been on the show before?
Briefly. Yeah, I think I said one line before. I was not the featured guest, but yeah.
Well, we met up in Siloam Springs with Casey Letellier was putting together or helping to put together a barrel project over there, and a bunch of us homebrewers hung out and tasted beers and put beers in barrels, and so it's good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Yeah, it's always good to see you.
And now you're down at Lost 40 in Little Rock. And Grant Chandler we've talked to him from Lost 40 a couple times. He has sampled some really interesting, fun beers that we can't get normally in the liquor stores up here in Northwest Arkansas.
Correct, yes.
I assume that this is more stuff that we can't get up here.
Yeah.
What do we got?
So you have our Druid, which is our dark sour. And you also have Pineapple Shapeshifter, which is our pineapple version of our bottle conditioned day drinker. Both part of our wild program that Grant heads up, and they are brewery exclusive in Little Rock. Sorry, yeah.
Well,
or a festival if you want to come to a festival.
That's all the more reason to go to Little Rock. Is this fermented with yeast that Grant actually found in the wild and harvested up? And
yeah, for sure. So Grant has done a lot of work, just sort of going out in the wild and yeast traps galore, and we have our own house yeast because of Grant. Yeah, he's a great guy.
This beer, it's super dark. It looks heavy, but it's tart and it just evaporates. It's delicious.
Super dry.
It's super dry, but you can still taste the malt bill. But like I say, it's like a black champagne.
Yeah, there's a lot of like chocolate covered cherry to it. Very dry, so you've got that wine, a lot of wine characteristics, a lot of champagne characteristics. Excuse me. But yeah, very dark chocolate covered cherry. Yeah, and like rich chocolate, not cheap chocolate.
Yeah, and like I say, it's dark and malty, but then it's it's magic. It just evaporates off the tongue, and there's a lingering slight tartness there. It's a very complex beer.
It's actually a little bit bigger ABV than you'd think. So it's 8.7.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It's a little bit bigger because of that dryness, though. It feels very drinkable for what it is. Yeah.
And what's Steve drinking?
Steve's drinking that pineapple shapeshifter, so it's that pineapple version of the bottle conditioned day drinker, which we won gold at GABF a couple years ago for that. So yeah, it's very light, effervescent, super fruity, a touch sweet, but then again, it's not sweet on the palate. It dries out very quickly as well with that wild yeast.
Yeah, it really does. The pineapple comes through without being candy-like. It's a really terrific beer. I'm so impressed with the beers these guys do, because I remember the show from a year or so ago, and then they're just magnificent beers, really and truly.
Yeah, that one's got a little bit of like a candied pineapple, but without being too sugary sweet.
Yeah, it doesn't come across as I don't know, Halloween candy or something.
Imagine like dropping a candied pineapple into a glass of like really dry champagne. And that's kind of what it comes across as for me, at least. Yeah.
And the tartness really comes through. Everything about this beer is just wonderful. I'm trying to down it so I can get into some of this dark cherry chocolates you guys are talking about.
And that one's a little lighter too. So that one's 5.7% versus the 8.7 or 5. Whatever it is. It's much lighter than the dark sour.
Yeah, you're the biggest production brewery in the state right now, right?
Correct. Clocking in around 15 to 16,000 barrels every year. We won Mid-Size Brew of the Year in 2020. Yeah, 2020.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, which is a weird way to say that we were the best brewery for a year. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how they measure that stuff.
It's a thing you don't even enter into. It's a kind of Super Bowl of beers, but you can't even enter into it. So it's a strange thing. But yeah, we're just happy to be part of the community. Great event. I'm glad Frost Fest is back. I love Ben and I love what he puts on. And it's a fun event. So I'm glad it's back.
Now Steve is.
Oh, I see what you mean. This stuff just disappears. Mm-hmm. So I'm drinking the Druid now, and it's just. It does. It looks like it should be a giant imperial stout, and so it's surprising. And that little bit of tartness in there, and the cherry. Oh, that's really great. Yeah. Really terrific.
Yeah. And it's not. There's not a whole lot of funk to it, but you can tell. I mean, it's a tart beer. You can tell that it's a wild yeast, but it's not. It's approachable.
Sure. I think it's more tart than sour for me. It's definitely approachable is a good word to describe it. It's got more of like the Smarties characteristics to it than maybe like a Warheads if you're a candy person. So there's like every kid has gotten Smarties through a bank teller, right, or whatever. But Warheads are like super sour. I think this is a little bit more on the Smarties side. It's got a little bit of approachable kind of tartness versus really crazy in your face sour. And again, the dryness just really helps. It's more funky too than it is like sour just for sour's sake.
Yeah, Smarties is my favorite Halloween candy.
I don't know what to do with you. I mean, that's a poor life choice. That's all I can say. I'm curious. I have a question, a real serious question. How long does it take for either of these beers to go from brew day to bottle day and ready to drink?
Is that a trick question?
Yeah, so most ales are 7 to 14 days, right? Now these bottle conditioned things, they go through a wild fermentation process, which takes an additional time, and then each one of them has a barrel time as well. So for the Druid, it's 24 months.
Wow.
And then for the Shapeshifter, it's 16 months. So yeah, so it's a longer time in the barrel, but the beer could feasibly be done in 21 days. But what you get now is a 2.5-3 year process.
Now, is the wild yeast, is that the primary fermentation yeast, or is it like in the barrel later?
So it's primary and secondary. Oh, okay. Yeah. So we're doing the barrel, to get the character on it, but the yeast carries over. We're not killing off the yeast when we take it to the barrel. So that's why I say secondary as well, because it's being fermented with that wild yeast, and then it's being taken over without being killed off. We're not cold crashing it.
So if I'm a home brewer and I want to try my hand at these beers, I'm serious. Should I expect to age the beers for that length of time, or should I can hit it with some oak staves in my 5-gallon carboy, couple months?
I mean, surface area is the biggest thing, right? So if you have smaller barrel, you can get more surface contact. So a smaller barrel, you get more surface contact. So as a home brewer, if you have a 5-gallon carboy, you just throw some staves in there. I've done it. We've all done it as home brewers. It's your shortcut way to get there. Obviously, you're going to get all the way there like you do with a real, true barrel program. But as a home brewer, if you want to shortcut it and get there and drink stuff on your own that you've made and be proud of, easily chop up some barrel staves, char them yourself, do some barbecue with them, and then throw them in there, clean them again, throw them in some vodka, sanitize them. So you'll still find a way to get there, but you're not going to get there exactly the same way.
And are you repitching in the barrels, or are they single use? I mean, theoretically, you could reuse the bugs over and over and over again in the barrels, but you're getting some wood character in there too, I'm assuming.
Sure. So we also have a foeder program as well. So one of my favorite beers we make is our Twig, which is our foeder table saison. It's a 4% table saison, and I absolutely love that beer. I could drink 10 of them in a day and stay completely sane. We've got a lot of things going on with how we are using our yeast, and Grant's the better person to ask on that. I don't want to step on his toes and say anything incorrect. So I'll beg off that question a little bit. We have a lot of things going on, and we're doing wild yeast on the separate side from the clean side. And now I've got Camp Taco as well too. So we have our pilot batch brewery, which is where we're getting Rooster Illusion and the newer hazy stuff we're bringing out. Yeah.
Yeah, y'all took over what was Rebel Kettle, and we did an interview down there. And so is that how does that brewery fit into the equation? Is that somewhere where it's kind of isolated from the big production brewery that you can do some weird stuff in, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially our pilot batch brewery. It's where we're kind of knocking out and kind of trying to fit in some new things. And if they work really well, we then move to the production side, and it's a block and a half away. So it's not hard to kind of, hey, if it works, we'll ship it down here and can it up, right? It's not hard to really truck it around. So it was a fortunate event for us, unfortunate for Rebel Kettle, and then East 6th, John Lee, who's now with New Province, great guy, we love him. He was with, he was Rebel Kettle, and so we took over that space. Fortunate for us, like I said, and we've really turned it into a place that we can kind of flex our creative muscles, as it were.
Well, awesome. I'd love to come down and talk to you guys again in person.
I'd like to just stay here. I'm really serious.
No, you guys are knocking it out of the park. Good luck to Lost 40.
Yeah, cheers. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Good to see you again.
Definitely.
Tell me who you are and where you're from.
I'm Scott Wiest, the owner of Turkey Creek Brewery, along with my wife, Deneen. We're in Hollister, Missouri, just outside Branson.
Oh, okay.
People that are familiar with Branson and the Branson Landing down on Lake Taneycomo, just across the bridge. So,
What do y'all like to brew?
beer.
All right. Interview's over.
He asked. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be that way. Well, we just opened up. September 24th was our first year anniversary, and because we're in the tourism market up in the Branson area, we've really focused on keeping our beers kind of down the middle. We haven't gotten too far out on the spectrum with hoppy beers, sours, those types of things. So we've got a solid brew crew that does our brewing. We pride ourselves in being stylistic. So today, just for this event, you guys are right now trying our Belgian triple. And because you guys are homebrew driven, the Zymergy Brew Group, the Zoo Group out of Ozark, Missouri, they did a little competition amongst themselves in their brew club. And we scaled up. This is a scale up of their beer.
So nice, kind of very nice.
You guys,
excellent.
Yeah, so they came down, brewed with our head brewer, and enjoyed that. So we're kind of doing that kind of thing. We all at Turkey Creek come from a homebrew background, so that's what we are. And
excellent.
So we appreciate that world and where it's come from. But today, just at this event, which is just a lovely event and our first time. You guys have been here before, I take it. Is that right?
Yeah, in other, Steve used to own a homebrew shop, so we were manning a booth as a homebrew shop before.
Awesome, that's good. We got our amber lager today, which is called Common Folk. That is our number one seller at the brewery. That really comes off well. I'd say for you guys that know styles, stylistically, it's a California Common, kind of a little hybrid though, not right down the middle on that. We got our Black Bear Stout, American Stout in the Firkin today. So we brought that and tapped it just a little bit ago. Got our Raspberry Sour. Our sours are nice, refreshing, tart sours, not over the top acidic.
So we're sampling this triple. Talk about this beer.
Yeah, well, the problem is I wasn't involved in brewing per se. And it was a brew club scale up. And, it's traditional Belgian yeast. You get for me, I always pick up on kind of that bubblegumness of it. And for some reason, those Belgian beers, I can't get that out of my own psyche. But it's still a good beer. It's a nice beer.
When I taste this, I kind of think of, first I think Pilsner, and then I think on steroids with some Belgian character. It's a little cold outside, so my taste buds are a little cold, and this beer is kind of cold. But it's nice. It's really delicious, and it's super drinkable.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I pick up more on that wet horse blanket kind of thing. I get a little of that, and it's really good because that's a difficult flavor to achieve. Yeah. It can definitely send you home.
It's another beer. It's another beer that is delicious and not so challenging if you were new to it satisfies both. We've had a lot of beers, and I like this beer, but I think that someone who is new to craft beer would also like it as well.
Kind of a nice entry beer, a little different profile for people, but it's not going to offend them. That's sometimes a tough thing, right? Especially new people into craft beers, especially with the hoppy beers, because if your palate's not in that direction, you can go, okay. Yeah, you can quickly go, that's not, yeah.
So I'm a sucker for a Firkin.
Yep, here we go. I'll pour it for you. Sucker for.
You don't want to say that in Massachusetts.
You don't want to say that at the end of the day.
No, it's hard for me to pass up a Firkin. Because I know that it has a limited shelf life, and I want to help you so that you don't have stale beer tomorrow. Nobody wants. You don't want to haul back You don't want to haul back you don't want to haul back a half full firkin to Missouri.
No, that's too far to go from Arkansas to Missouri.
Gone.
And you're right here by the porta potties, which can be a blessing and a curse. So tell us about this beer.
Well, first of all, just because the audience can't see it in their own mind, we got to give them a picture. But I think there's 400 porta potties over there.
Yeah.
They're expecting a lot of people.
Yeah, there's not going to be a line for a long time.
Like a Guinness World Record. Or you can drink a lot of Guinness and find a porta potty. Either way.
Yeah, talk about this beer.
Falling apart fast.
Yeah, talk about this beer.
This is a favorite beer. When we opened up, it was right away on tap with us. Just a good, solid American stout.
Yeah.
We have done nothing funky with it. We did barrel age it, and interesting to tell you guys about it. I should have brought some today. We actually barrel aged it in an oak barrel that had mead aged in it.
Wow, that's right up our alley.
So, well, here's the interesting thing. If you're a wine drinker at all, it got kind of Cabernet-like characteristics to it.
Huh.
And we have an event on Valentine's, and we took that barrel aged and put it on raspberries. Oh my God, guys! And we're going to break it out on that. But anyway, I digress.
You're just teasing us now.
I know I am. You got to come to Branson and Hollister. Sorry. If your palate lends towards that coffee or towards that chocolate, you're going to get one or the other probably in this. There's none in it. It's the grain. It's the roast on the grain.
I got a little. It's almost like a chocolate oatmeal cookie.
Nice. No oatmeal for body at all. But I like that description. And you know what? This is a fun thing about craft beer. Everybody's palate's different.
Yeah, for sure.
And I love hearing people's different takes on stuff. So it's fun. So thanks for sharing that. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing your beers.
Oh my God.
And good luck to Turkey Creek.
Thank you. And come see us in Branson, guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You got a stool for you at the bar. Just no porta potties.
Yeah, I was gonna make a stool joke with the porta potties, but I'm better than that.
Thanks a lot.
No, you're not.
Thank you so much.
That was a lot of fun, and there's lots more to come. There were so many breweries at FrostFest that we skipped over some of our local favorites to visit some that we haven't talked to for a while, and to meet some breweries from outside the area that we wouldn't have been able to chat with otherwise. So stay tuned for more from FrostFest. In the meantime, if you have brewing questions, show suggestions, or just want to say howdy, write to james@basicbrewing.com or just fill out the contact form at basicbrewing.com. And please don't forget to tell us where you're from. Check out our mobile-friendly shop at basicbrewingshop.com. Thanks to everybody supporting us through our Patreon page. Special goodies coming your way. Check that out at patreon.com/basicbrewing. It's all until next time. Until then, thanks for listening, everybody. I'm James Spencer. Production help for Basic Brewing Radio and our website is provided by Kelly Dodson. Basic Brewing Radio is a production of Active Voicing. We'll talk to you next time, everybody. In the meantime, stay well and stay tuned. So long.